Hello everyone, it's time for yet another Batman miniature game battle report. The Gotham City Sirens, after starting off strong last time, are going to get a second showing today against a new Brave and the Bold setup that we'll take a look at in a second. This is the same board we're playing on again because it's a pretty nice looking board if I do say so myself. So, we'll be back in a second to go over the crews. So this is the Brave and the Bold crew, 350 rep, being led by the Dark Knight Rises Batman. Being backed up by a new addition, the Teen Titans Robin from the new Teen Titans Batbox. This Robin is interesting. It's adult Dick Grayson, but not before he became Nightwing. He can stop a move midway to attack. He can do some teamwork related stuff for henchmen and things, so he fights a lot differently to Nightwing and the other Robins we've seen so far. Then from the Dark Knight Rises box set, we have Agent 1 at the back there with her pistol, and then Agent 2 and 3. I think 3 is the one with the pepper spray. Nope. 3 is the baton, 2 is the pepper spray, who we haven't seen before yet as henchmen. If you're thinking that looks a little bit light for 350 rep, that's because there is also a Batmobile that Batman is going to start in, and if this Batmobile is destroyed it becomes the Batpod, I believe for free based on how the wording of the rule is written. Hang on, we can have a little look at it now. Right, I don't know if this will be in focus, but let's see, before removing this upgrade card, no, where is it? It's here somewhere. Oh, Tumblr, there, yes. This model can neither jump nor climb. When this upgrade card becomes disabled, you can immediately exchange this upgrade card for the Batman Batpod upgrade card. It doesn't say you have to pay the cost for the upgrade card, so presumably the 80 rep that the Batmobile costs includes the 35 rep that the Batpod costs if you were just bringing that straight away. It seems like you don't pay for it, because that would make this too expensive otherwise. In terms of extra funding stuff, Agent 1 has an extra magazine, and Batman has +1 endurance from the enhanced or upgraded Batsuit. I believe that was it. Oh, you know, he has Streetwise or whatever it is that gives him undercover. The one with the baton. Obviously forgot to mention the objectives that this crew is taking, but they were back here. Ammo, Wayne Tech, and the Bat Signal. And here's the 350 rep of the Gotham City Sirens, the exact same list as last time. It did exceptionally well. Let's see if they can do better against this crew. Being led by Poison Ivy, sidekick is Harley Quinn, then free agent Catwoman, and then mind control John Diggle and Arkham Guard 3. 2 plant markers which become 2 seedling markers each and pop up at some point at the start of one of the battle rounds, and the exact same objectives, loot, medical and ammo, and the 3 ladies themselves are going to have the same focus. So Catwoman's after the loot, Harley Quinn's after the medical, and Poison Ivy is after the ammo. No extra funding taken because this adds up to 1450, so basically capped out almost. Let's see what mission we're playing and then we'll get the board set up. So we're going to be doing scenario 5, secure the area today. That's 1 corner each for both crews. 1 objective has to be put in the center, 1 objective has to be put in an enemy deployment, and 1 objective has to follow the normal rules for whatever objective type it is. 2 bonus ones. 3 victory points to the first player to control one of their own objectives, but if both players do it in the same turn, it's 1 each. And 2 victory points with the 50% total reputation thingy. It's a bit hard to explain, but actually pretty simple. It's used in skirmish as well, which is scenario 4. So, the Gotham City Sirens have this corner, Brave and Bold have this corner, which is a little awkward for both of them for different reasons, but we come over here. So Catwoman and Harley Quinn have set up down there, and we've got a sewer grating here. And then down here we have the Batmobile and Robin have set up next to the ammo for the Gotham City Sirens and the sewer grating. In the middle here we've got 2 lamps. We have a sewer grating, we have a loot and a Wayne Tech. Over here we have the Bat Signal up on the roof. In the far corner over there you can just about make out the 3 agents for the Brave and the Bold next to the medical for the Gotham City Sirens. Then over here we have Poison Ivy and her 2 mind control bodyguards next to the ammo for the Brave and the Bold. Sewer grating there, another lamp there. I think that about covers everything. Other than who's going to be getting first turn, so let's just scoot back over this end of the table. And it's going to be the bat symbol for Brave and the Bold, and pink for the Gotham City Sirens. It will be the Gotham City Sirens getting first activation in Battle Round 1. So to get us started this game, Catwoman activated first for the Gotham City Sirens. She made use of the trait that Harley Quinn gives her so she can spend specials as whatever counter she wants to give her an extra move, which gave her enough distance to both make all this over to the loot and still have 1 movement counter left over to pick it up, but she used literally all her counters to do that. Also, forgot to put down the plant markers, but they're down now. Basically, almost, but not quite, the borders for the centre where the two objectives had to be placed. So plants can pop up there at the start of any raise to plan phase. They're not there right now, so obviously the next nearest opportunity is the start of Battle Round 2. But anyway, Catwoman has grabbed her loot. She'll be looking to escape now because she generates an extra victory point for every turn she holds that, because that's what she's after. Teen Titans Robin activated next, and he is just as fast as you'd expect most Dick Grayson models to be. He rocketed up through the gap in the building here as far as he could go. He then threw his batlings at Catwoman, got one hit for 2 stun plus a 6 on the collateral for a 3rd stun. Didn't knock her over or anything like those, so she's still probably free to escape next turn, but a little bit of damage done at least. Starting things off early, let's see how things proceed when we jump back over to the Gotham City Sirens. John activated next and moved up with the hopes of shooting at Robin, however his pistol was only short range, so he couldn't quite get a target on him. He is moving up towards the centre though. Now we're back over to the Brave and the Bold. A couple of quick movement activations to cover. Agent 3 has moved up. He didn't quite have enough to make it to the sewer grating unfortunately, so he couldn't take it. Then the Gotham City Sirens forcibly activated Arkham Guard 3. He shuffled along under here, hoping to take a shot at Agent 3. He can see him, but he's out of range as per the maximum view distance because it's not illuminated. Actually, you know what? That light is up there. He might be shootable because I think it's a bubble. It's not, like, even though he's on a lower level from that lamp. We're going to go double check. Alright, double checked about the lampposts. It just says it illuminates an area of 4 inches, but I'm going to say that it makes sense that it's a bubble, so we counted Agent 3 as being in range, so he took 1 shot and it hit and wounded for 3 blood. He's only got 5 endurance, so he is hurting quite badly now. So, that was Gotham City Sirens' turn. It's back over to the Brave and the Bold. The Batmobile activated next and skirted along in front of this building to this location right here. The base is technically off the table, but the model itself is on. The base is much thicker, like we do that kind of angle you can see, than the model itself. It can scale over things up to 2 inches in height without being hindered or anything like that to make up for the fact it can't climb or anything. Anyway, it parked here. It shot its machine guns at Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn opted to use 2 defense dice to dodge. It's Assault 2 if the Batmobile moves. I think it's 4 normally. Yeah. So she was able to dodge, although that has hindered her movement and she hasn't gone yet, so she might not be able to escape as easily, but the Batmobile has moved in and tried to make its mark, but Harley Quinn is evasive. Let's see who activates next. Harley Quinn activated next, and sadly because she had to use up 2 of her movement counters to avoid being shot. The Batmobile's weapons, incidentally, even though it's armed with machine guns and rocket launchers, they all do stun damage, because logic. Anyway, Harley Quinn, she didn't have enough to move the planned move that she had, which was to get there and use the sewer presumably. She had to use up 1 of her special counters as well to turn it into movement just to make it that far, because she can do that with her unpredictable rule. So she got to the sewer grating, but she was unable to use it, so she's kind of stuck there with the Batmobile still bearing down on her. The remainder of Battle Round 1 was mostly just the rest of the miniatures that hadn't activated yet, posturing, changing position, getting ready for what's going to happen in Battle Round 2. So to quickly recap, basically the 2 remaining agents that hadn't moved, they're all just moving up as a unit together towards this end of the table. Poison Ivy, in between those 2 moving, opted to take the sewer grating right in front of her. She was going to go over by the medical, but the 3 henchmen are still there, so it's a little risky. She opted instead to go for the ammo, which is her special objective anyway, so she might as well. It does mean the Batmobile could reverse and come after her, or Robin. We'll see though, but she's down there, and that has taken us to the end of Battle Round 1. We will be doing the recap and then we'll be back. At the end of Battle Round 1, Catwoman did not recover from one of the stuns accumulated from being hit by batlings in the head. In terms of victory points, the Brave and the Bold earned nothing. The Gotham City Sirens pulled out to a very comfortable start. Catwoman has the loot, which would normally give 1 victory point, but she has priority loot, so that's actually 2 victory points. The bat signal being in the off position generates another 1 victory point for them, because it has to be switched on. And they claim one of their objectives, and the Brave and the Bold didn't, in the form of the loot. So the scenario has given them yet another 3 victory points. Very, very strong lead for the Gotham City Sirens already. They took more, well actually no, they took equal damage, just stun instead of blood. Anyway, in Battle Round 2, it will be the Gotham City Sirens going first again. So to start with Battle Round 2, plants have emerged from the markers. The melee focus one is right there, the shooting one is right over there, and Catwoman pretty much had to activate, there was too much risk. This Catwoman has only 5 endurance and she took 3 stun that didn't get healed, so there wasn't really much choice other than to make her flee as best as she could. She didn't want to go in that direction because of all the cops over there. The Batmobile is down here, so that pretty much left the one option. She ran past the plant, over by John Diggle, and is hiding behind the pillar to the metro station right there. Robin activated first for the Brave and the Bold, and mentioned it at the top of the video I think, but this Robin has the ability to stop midway to do an attack and then carry on going. So he did his normal move up to this plant, took swings at it with his bow staff, sadly didn't do anything to it, the wound rolls whiffed. He then used his back claw to carry on his move up to here and switched on the bat signal, so that will generate 3 victory points a turn for the Brave and the Bold. I don't think this Gotham City Sirens have a means by which to get up there, actually, so... Oh wait, no, Catwoman has claws, she can climb up. But other than her though, I don't think anyone else can help out, so that's hopefully good, a nice little generator. Doesn't need to stand next to either, I believe, so he's free to move away next turn. Back over to the Gotham City Sirens now though, to see what they do. Arkham Guard 2, who I'm pretty sure I've called Arkham Guard 3 this entire time. He activated next, he opted not to move, he fired at his full rate of fire at the same cop he did last time, and the baton-wielding agent has died. So that's 2 victory points, 1 for knockout, 1 for casualty of a henchman. He's just holding the line, he has... Oh, that may be his last shot, so maybe he should have shuffled afterwards if it was his last shot. But we can check that anyway and amend as needed. So the Brave and the Bold have lost someone, and it's over to them now again. Leo activated next, shot the stun rounds, I guess, rubber bullets for the machine guns at full rate of fire at Harley Quinn. Did only 2 stun, and a knockdown. She was able to use quite a few movement counters to do the dodging ranged attack again, so didn't do much damage as a result. Then it shuffled back along in front of here with line of sight on Poison Ivy for next time. Poison Ivy activated next, just shuffled out of the way to both claim her ammo for her team and also put the pillar in the way from the old Batmobile that's over there. And next, Agent 1 with a gun. She trotted forwards, shot normal rate of fire, managed to get a hit and a knockdown on the Arkham Guard 2 for 1 blood, 1 stun and a knockdown, so he's in a little bit of bother, but he's also out of ammo, so his usefulness is near an end if he can. Well, actually, he could have grabbed a magazine from the Brave and the Bold's ammo, I suppose. He still could, he's not dead. But we're back round to the Gotham City Sirens, who just have Harley Quinn in the plants, I believe. And then the Brave and the Bold just have the last surviving agent with the pepper spray. Harley Quinn stood up and rather than move, just opted to take the sewer graying all the way over there, which prompted the pepper spray using Agent 2 to change course and come around here. That's right at the apex of his short range there. So he sprayed Harley Quinn with pepper spray. Doesn't do any damage, but it does blind her, so she's hitting and blocking on 6s next turn, and can't use ranged attacks. Well, she has a one-time use ranged attack actually, so yeah, she can't use that next turn. The pepper spray has reload though, so it can't be used 2 consecutive rounds in a row. Totally forgot as well when we were going over things, John Diggle has not gone yet, so he'll be the last activation because both plants, yes, they can activate unabated, whatever, but they can't see anyone, so it's just down to John and what he does. So John activated as the final activation for this battle round. He moved backwards, he shot at Agent 1, missed, so just a scratch meant she took 1 stun. Worth pointing out, totally forgot that both she has undercover naturally and undercover was purchased for one of the other agents. That would have been 8 inches of additional movement at the start, meaning the start of the game could have changed differently. I totally forgot, obviously way too late to go back now. Did catch it, but way too late. So, time for the rest and recovery phase. So at the end of Battle Round 2, Catwoman recovered from one of the 3 stuns she had accumulated, which helped her out a bunch. No one else recovered any stun though, so Harley Quinn still got some stun, so does Arkham Guard 2. I think that's it. Yeah. So in terms of victory points, the Brave and the Bold got 3 victory points for the bat signal being switched on this turn, so they're finally on the board. But the Gotham City Sirens are still pulling ahead of it, or away with it rather. They have 2 victory points for Catwoman holding onto the loot specifically. They have 4 victory points for Poison Ivy holding the ammo, which was her preferred objective. Normally it's 3 plus 1. And they got 2 victory points for a henchman that was knocked out and subsequently made a casualty. So they are way out in front. It's going to be real difficult for the Brave and the Bold to start catching this up. The Batmobile has to start pulling its weight, basically. Right now, it would have been just better to have Batman on the field with some more henchmen. But let's see what happens as we go into Battle Round 3. And finally, Brave and the Bold is getting first activation. So to get started with Battle Round 3, Robin activated, moved to the edge of the building, jumped down with enough movement counters to not fall. hid in behind Catwoman, maybe come in here, that's a better view there, attacked her with his bow staff, only did 1 blood but did manage to knock her down. She used up 2 defense dice to negate some additional damage getting through. His bow staff only does 1 blood, which is a little disappointing, but it is devastating, so it's double the chance of getting a good result on the collateral die. Well, you roll 2 and apply both or take the best result, whichever. Doesn't matter. Anyway, knocked down and 1 blood to get us started. Now it's over to the Gotham City Sirens. John Diggle activated for the Gotham City Sirens. He moved into contact with Agent 1 and used his taser on her. He rolled horrifically for his wounds attempts. 2 2s and a 1. No, wait, no, 1 got blocked, so 2 2s. Either way, was unable to do anything to her, but did get into base to base though, so she can't fire at full rate of fire now. So we're still staying over this end of the table because Agent 1 activated and moved up and shot at Catwoman while she was on the ground. Did an additional 2 stun and 1 blood. The additional stun is from the crit result on the collateral die, which equaled a knockout for Catwoman. She's not dead, but she is knocked out, so that's pretty devastating. The loot has dropped. We're doing owner's choice of which side of it drops at, so obviously put it there next to the plant to make it extra dangerous to pick it up. But that is a free agent knocked out, so that's some points on the board for the Brave and the Bold. Back over to the Sirens now to see what they do. The controlled Arkham Guard went next and moved next to the ammo after standing up because he was knocked down. He didn't have enough willpower to take some ammo this turn from the ammo that is not his, unfortunately, but at least he's holding it to contest it if need be. But keep in mind his and Diggle's willpower is 1 below their normal amount because they're being controlled by Poison Ivy, so that plus his injuries, plus needing to spend a counter to stand up, meant he could essentially do nothing. But contesting an objective is the best of a bad situation for him. Batman in his Batmobile activated next and he did his once per game boosted jump, which just means for a movement in a special. It's essentially like a Batclaw but for the Batmobile. He can be placed 8 inches within where he started and then just move as normal. So I guess it's to like represent him being able to do like a super jump, but just in this case imagine he did a sweep up on 2 tires, skidded through here because he landed on the far side of the building in between the 2 plants here, blocking line of sight of one of them ideally because he's not particularly worried about the Batmobile being damaged by it. He used his machine guns again on the closest plant, did 4 stun to it. It has 1 endurance left, and remember if they get knocked out they're just removed, but they only give 1 victory point. So he's trying to make use of the Batmobile by gaining control of the centre of the board because it didn't seem likely he'd be able to take out Poison Ivy solo. The Batmobile is tanky, but it's not really super damaging as it turns out. 2 activations to cover now as 2 characters essentially just walk past each other. Harley Quinn activated and is moving towards the medical that she is desperately wanting. She's blind this turn, remember, so she couldn't shoot, or she was hitting on 6s, blocking on 6s. Then the agent that was next to her went. He couldn't use his pepper spray again because it's reloading. He doesn't have a chance of taking out Harley Quinn by himself, so instead he opted to move towards the centre of the board where the Batmobile is to try and get the Wayne Tech. He didn't have enough movement, he can only have 2 movement counters max, so he couldn't cover enough distance to claim it this turn, but presuming he doesn't get shot by a killer plant, he should be there to claim it next turn. So to recap the last few actions of Battle Round 3, the Spitting Plant shot... knocking over a tree. Shot the agent that's moving towards the Wayne Tech, did 1 blood, 1 stun to him. I think he has 5 endurance as well. Then the other plant activated. It can't actually hurt the Batmobile, so we just sat there. And Poison Ivy still opting to claim the ammo, obviously, because she's getting bonus victory points for it. She shuffled to the far side of it just in case someone pops out that sewer. It means they have to come to her. But other than that, that's everybody, I believe. So, time for the recap phase. So at the end of Battle Round 3, there was a few recoveries. Catwoman did not wake up, but the Agent 2 recovered a stun. Let's see, who else? Arkham Guard 2 recovered a stun. Someone else did, I think. I think Agent 1 lost 1 of the stuns on her, but other than that, Harley Quinn did not, the plant didn't, and Catwoman didn't wake up as we said. In terms of victory points gained, the Brave and the Bold got 3 for the bat signal remaining switched on, and they got 3 for knocking out a free agent. The Gotham City Sirens got 4 for holding the ammo with preferred loot ammo, and what else? I think that was it this turn because they lost the loot, so there was nothing gained there. They're not holding their medical. Yep, that is everything I think. So, let's see, as we're into the latter half of the game, who is going to be getting first activation. In Battle Round 4, it will be the Gotham City Sirens. That means that turn 5 and 6 is guaranteed to be the Brave and the Bold. So to get us started with Battle Round 4, the Arkham Guard, who's mind controlled, used the ammo that doesn't belong to him to get a magazine. He then shot at Agent 1 and did 3 blood to her. She's still on her feet. She's up to 4 damage of both types in total, and she has 5 endurance, so she's alive, but obviously very badly injured now. So the Arkham Guard there was able to make use of his limited markers this turn pretty well, actually, considering he didn't move. He's staying there to contest the ammo. So knowing that she might not be long for this world, Agent 1 activated, moved next to Catwoman and using the arrest rule arrested her. She is in base to base with the loot, but she did not have the counters left required to pick it up, so the loot is unclaimed still, but she is next to it if she survives. So that's Catwoman gone. That's just an extra 1 victory point for a free agent being made a casualty, I believe. So it's back over to the Gotham City Sirens now to see what they do in retort. The spiked plant activated next for the Gotham City Sirens. It spat its needles at Agent 1, did 2 stun, 1 blood, knocking her out. She's still alive, barely, but she is unconscious, so she will not be picking up the loot there, and is not much of a threat at this point. It's a bit weird having 2 Batmobiles on the table at the same time, but anyway, Robin activated next. He bounced over to the ammo, he assaulted the mind-controlled Arkham Guard, did 2 blood to him and knocked him down. That's him up to 3 blood, I think. He has 5 endurance, so he is still very much alive and conscious. He's out of ammo again, though, and now Robin is obviously in base to base. He's only knocked down, though, so he is still contesting, so that's not going to give anything this turn, assuming everything is as it is by the end. Over to the Gotham City Sirens now to see what they do next. Immediately next, Diggle activated and snuck up behind Robin using his taser on him for 4 stun. Robin's still standing, but obviously hurting a bit more now if he can't recover some of that between turns. Back over to the Brave and the Bold now, who still have 1 agent and the Batmobile to go for this turn, I believe, and then that is it for them. So just going to recap the final activations of Battle Round 4 here, because it was mostly just very quick. Harley Quinn obviously moved up and is claiming the medical, which is very big because that's her preferred objective. Over here, the agent activated and sprayed the plant that was there. As it turns out, that was utterly irrelevant, because then the Batmobile got their turn after Poison Ivy just obviously opted to stay next to their ammo, shot it, did 5 stun, took it over its cap, and it's immediately removed as a casualty. It only gives up 1 victory point though. And that is everybody who's conscious, so now it's time for recovery and recap. So as we round off Battle Round 4, Dick Grayson, but Robin, you know what I mean. He recovered 1 stun, the Agent 1 did not wake up. Harley Quinn recovered 1 stun, so she's only got 1 bit of damage left on her. And that's it for that. In terms of victory points, the Brave and the Bold had 2 for the Wayne Tech, which has also given the police officer a disruptor for the next turn. They don't have the loot because it's still sitting there. What else did they have? I've forgotten now. Wayne Tech and they had something else, I'm sure. Oh, the Bat Signal. I think that's it though. The Bat Signal and the Wayne Tech. Not a huge amount when you also look at how much the Gotham City Sirens got this turn. 4 for the medical, 4 for the ammo, because they're getting +1 bonus each. The ammo for the Brave and the Bold is being contested by Diggle and the knocked down Arkham Guard. So Gotham City Sirens still way out in front, but as we go into Battle Round 5, we know the Brave and the Bold are getting first activation for this and the final turn. It's everything to play for. They could get it back. Oh, I remember what the other point was for the Brave and the Bold that was bugging me. They took out a henchman in the form of the plant, which gave 1 victory point. Anyway, Brave and the Bold as we go into Battle Round 5. So to get us started with the penultimate turn, Robin activated and attacked the knocked over Arkham Guard, did 2 blood, which is exactly enough to take him to his cap. So this is the Titans Robin, so he is okay with murder, it seems. He has killed the Arkham Guard that was being controlled against his will for a total of 2 victory points, 1 for casualty, 1 for knockout. John was a lot less successful when he activated this turn. He was unable to do anything to Robin. He should have shifted there. So he is contesting for sure the ammo as well. That's the least he can do after doing no damage. Batman activated next and chose to disable the Batmobile and downscale to the Batpod. He then raced forwards because there wasn't enough room to fit the Batmobile through on his bike, so he is here. He shot the machine guns on the bike at John, but rate of fire 1 because he moved, and it doesn't have assault on these ones. The Batmobile ones have assault, but these ones don't. So he only shot once, it whiffed its hit chance, so John is okay, but he does have Batman bearing down on him. He could choose to get rid of the Batpod next turn as well if he wants to fight in close combat, because he does quite well in this Batman. So that's his activation. Back over to the Sirens. So we're just going to do a quick recap of the final activations of Battle Round 5, because 2 of them are just standing still. Ivy's obviously staying next to the ammo. At the other end of the table there, Harley Quinn is obviously staying next to her medical because that's her preferred loot. The agent in the middle of the map left the Wayne Tech, however, and went over and picked up the loot. He couldn't move again afterwards, obviously, but he's taking a 1 victory point hit to get an additional 1 in the last turn. And obviously over here everything was as we've left it. So we're going to move straight on to recovery and recap for the penultimate turn. So to end off the second last turn, Harley Quinn got rid of the last of the stun damage lingering on her. Agent 1 woke up, which might be important. Who else had stun that got recovered? Robin recovered 1 stun, so he's only got 2 left on him. In terms of victory points, the Brave and the Bold got 3 for the bat signal still being switched on, 1 for the loot being held by Agent 2, whichever one it is. And that's it, because their ammo's still being contested by John Diggle. The Sirens got 4 for the medical, 4 for the ammo. Again, remembering the bonus points are getting because it's preferred for each of the people holding them. And that is it. So they're gaining more than I think the Brave and the Bold can cover in one final turn. We know the Brave and the Bold are getting the final activation, so we're just going to move straight on to Battle Round 6 and see what happens. So to get the final battle round started, Batman got off his bike, moved in and helped Dick out a little bit by attacking with his reinforced gloves against John Diggle. Did 4 stun and a knockdown. John still got 3 HP left, I believe. For the Sirens, John immediately stood up and took swings at Robin just to try and take him down and whiffed entirely. He only had 2 attacks because of the damage sustained, so he couldn't do very much. As maybe expected, Robin then immediately went. This Robin has an interesting role because he's from the Teen Titans box, so he's all about teamwork. If he is attacking someone who is already in combat with a friendly, in this case Batman, for every bit of damage he does 1 additional stun, so he did 2 blood and 1 stun to Diggle, which was enough to take him over his cap, so he is knocked out. Not a casualty, but he is knocked out. So other than some final shuffling for activations, there's not really anything else that could be done. This agent moved back in contact with the Wayne Tech, the one that was holding the loot, so that he's also claiming that. This agent stood up but wasn't anywhere around to do anything. Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn want to stay with their objectives obviously, and this plant here can't reach anybody. So that is going to take us into the final recap and the final scores as well. So at the closing stages of this game, the victory points gained in the final turn for both sides are that the Brave and the Bold have their ammo finally for 3, the bat signal was left on for 3, they have the loot for 1, and they have the Wayne Tech for 2. The Gotham City Sirens have medical for 4 and ammo for 4. So just double checking the final scores there, that was a high scoring game and it's a very potent power. The planning the move is the role that Catwoman has that she gives to other Gotham City Sirens, in other words Ivy and Harley, giving them preferred loots. Letting them get away with grabbing those is the thing that swung it for them. The Gotham City Sirens had a staggering 43 victory points. Brave and the Bold had a very, very confident 32 victory points, so they lost by 11. If you take away the bonuses for the medical and the ammo, oh, that'd be what? That'd be how many off of their score? That'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That'd be like 7 off their score, so that still wouldn't be enough to make it swing in the Brave and the Bold's favour. The Gotham City Sirens, with that rule, if they're allowed to get to their objectives, they're very difficult to beat in points. With Robin and Batman working together over in the far corner there, they could easily now essentially take on everybody left on the field. Well, they would have arrested or finished off Diggle. Then it's just a case of Harley and Poison Ivy basically, because the plant could be ignored. Biggest detriment for the Brave and the Bold in that one was definitely the Batmobile. And not just because it's quite hard for it to navigate on this particular table layout without doing its 1 per game super jump. It just doesn't do enough damage for, 1, how much rep it takes up, and it keeps you from using a Batman because Batman's inside it, and Batman on his own is much more effective. Like the Batmobile is what, 80 rep and 500 funding. Take away that, have another free agent for roughly 80 points, or a couple of henchmen, and this particular Batman as well, he's what, 120? Yeah, 120. He's pretty good. He is based around stealth, so he should have been up in the rafters doing stealth attacks on people. Could have brought a different Batman, to be fair, but the Batmobile in general is not worth it. Maybe should have switched to the Batpod earlier in the game, but even then, the Batpod doesn't have as good guns on it. But yeah, the Gotham City Sirens win again. That same Gotham City Sirens list will probably stay on for one final match before we mix things up a bit. I'm not sure who they're going to be playing, but they're going to be going up against someone who will hopefully topple them off their pedestal because they're crushing everybody else. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching. There'll be more Batman in the future and 40k as well. See you next time. Ta-ta for now.